camp's going to be up and running next week with everybody in camp. I was thinking about this yesterday because I stupidly played golf yesterday. It was so hot.
Yeah, I don't know how
so
you did
hot. Because I think I booked it on Wednesday or Thursday, and I asked a couple buddies, like, hey, you want to play golf? Because it was super hot last week, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So then it seemed like it was going to rain and it was going to be cooler. And also just looking at my schedule, the only time I could play would be Sunday afternoon. So people were in,
decided to go for
set it up, and it was ridiculously hot.
Yeah.
Could you imagine being in full padding dealing with this?
No.
And that's what's going to happen next week.
By the
I
way,
don't
a
know
lot-
what the weather's going to be like next week, but you're going to have, all the training camps are going to be going. I think that some of the camps have started.
I've never looked more forward to a training camp than this year for some reason.
A lot of the sessions that are open to the public for Commanders Camp are already sold out. Like I'm looking on their website, the 28th and 29th of July already sold out. August 2nd and 4th and 6th sold out. So there aren't that many real opportunities left to go see them.
And I'm going to the you guys aren't going, I'm sure, but I'm going to the happy hour.
I might be going.
Really?
I might join you.
You're going to come out to DC Prime.
I'm considering it.
Oh, good. And that we were invited by the PR department.
Yep.
It's a kickoff happy hour for their training camp.
Right.
And I assume there'll be some coaches there. I doubt players, but who knows? But
Doesn't matter.
I think we'll have a good time.
Yeah, just to hang out.
Four
training camp starts.
4 to 6.
Yep.
Valdez, correct me if I'm wrong. Did the rookies report for
and
the Ravens?
And they're paying for drinks, by the way.
Yeah, they definitely are.
Yes. Today is rookie day for the Ravens.
Speaking of paying for drinks, and that would be Josh Harris paying for the drinks. I met his brother, Gabe.
You did.
At the USA-Scotland rugby match.
Wow.
Nice.
Talked to him for about 5 to 10 minutes before I I pulled the Jason Bishop exit early.
Yep.
Super nice guy.
Yep.
Good to talk to him.
I know Gabe.
Yep. I know him now too.
Yep.
Not as well as you do, but I know him.
He came to the official date there at the bullpen.
That's right.
Good
When
guy.
the
were popping
ownership
bottles.
transferred over.
Gabe's a
Yes, I
good
don't know
guy.
what we called that date. Did we have a name for that?
Burgundy and Sold.
That's
was
right, Burgundy
was
and
the way
Sold.
we were hyping it up.
Anyway, bring up training camp because you're seeing more and more NFL stories. And I was on heavy.com yesterday, and I saw this headline. Commanders can accelerate Jayden Daniels with trade for certified weapon. Now, this is a speculative article, but
So speculative.
T Higgins is set to play on the franchise tag for the Bengals.
Yep.
Unless a trade can be worked out.
Right.
We've talked a lot about Brandon Aiyuk and whether or not he's going to end up staying with the 49ers. But T Higgins is a guy who is going to be operating under the franchise tag. Players never like the franchise tag. Wants a long-term deal. Doesn't look like that's going to happen with Cincinnati.
Well, the deadline is today.
Right.
For tag players. So if you don't get a deal done by today, you have to play on the tag, or you get dealt.
Would you like the Commanders to be proactive and get a guy like T Higgins?
Absolutely.
Sure. Absolutely. Get him in the mix. He's 25 years old.
Get all the weapons you can get.
If he weren't playing on a team with Jamar Chase, he would be the number one option.
Yep.
He would be the number one option here. Like pretty close to Terry McLaurin, but I just think T Higgins is a more naturally talented player than Terry McLaurin. That's just personal preference.
I mean, he averages somewhere in the 70 catch range. He averages 6 or 7 touchdowns a year.
He's a big target.
He's a big target.
Instantly upgrades your wide receiver room.
Yep. I mean, he had 42 catches for 656 and 5 touchdowns last year, but he was hurt.
You know how they say Caleb Williams is set up for success with DJ Moore and what they have there? This would definitely set up Jayden Daniels for success if you added a T Higgins to go with Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson.
And the Commanders
potentially Luke McCaffrey.
And they've got money to spend. So I would
let me check them on over the cap. But
I think they're at about $37 million.
Yeah, $37 million. There you go.
It's the second most in the league according to overthecap.com.
It kind of depends on what you're giving up for him. You giving up a 2? You giving up a 1? I doubt a 1.
Yeah,
Could you get it done for 2 2s?
How about a 2 and a 4?
2 and a 4? Yeah, something like that.
That's what if I'm Adam Peters, I would be like Joe Shane on the sideline when he was talking with Dan Morgan when they're doing their back and forth about the price for Brian Burns. When Morgan starts out with, how about 2 1s? And Shane's like, no, that's a bit too pricey. And then they're haggling back and forth. If you get T Higgins for a 2 and a 4, then you just have to sign him to a long-term extension. I love that. I would love that for the Commanders.
He's also a big dude, 6'4", 219.
Yep.
And most of the receivers here are on the smaller side.
McLaurin is about 5'11", maybe listed at 6 foot. Same with Dotson. Like if they're 6 feet tall, it's barely 6 feet. McCaffrey's what, about 6'2"? 6'2" and a half?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he would add some size to the lineup.
Cakes, I found out over the weekend where I'm drafting last year I was in 8 fantasy leagues.
Yes. Have you pared it down?
No, I was in 7 and I was in 3 college. So I was in 10 total.
Okay.
But 7 pro fantasy leagues.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. And I'm going to pare it down a little bit. I'm probably going to go down to 6.
Okay. I like it.
But maybe 5. I don't know. But
6 pro, but still the 3 college?
I'll probably still do the 3 college, yeah. And Survivor pools. I'll be inundated with Survivor/fantasy stuff in both college and pro. But I found out where I'm picking. I am picking.
In which league is this?
It's just one of my leagues.
Okay.
I've been doing it forever, for 20 years.
By the way,
Me and Horsey are co-managers.
I like finding out early. Like it's not even August and you know where you pick. I like that. Your commissioner's on his game.
Well, where would you want to pick if you're
1?
I'd love to pick 1.
That's where I'm picking.
McCaffrey?
I don't mind 12.
You're taking McCaffrey, right?
I like having the back-to-back picks, but I am picking 1.
I kind of hate 12 because you do get back-to-back picks, but then, you're picking at a carcass at that point. Like all the really good picks are gone. A lot of
all
them
the
are
good
gone.
picks.
A lot of them
There's
are
only
gone.
11 good fantasy players.
A lot of them are gone.
Oh my gosh.
A lot of the premier players are bye-bye.
11
Jason
of
Bishop, do you have to run this through Tommy Horsecamp?
No, we both agreed we're going to go 1. And
You're taking C-Mac?
I'm sure we'll take McCaffrey, and he'll get hurt in week 3.
Hold on. Now I have a lot of questions. Obviously, CMC is the pick. But when it comes down to being in the war room, do you have final say? Is it collaborative? Do you let, God forbid, Horsey make the pick? How does this work?
God forbid.
I need to know the dynamic.
We talk it over, but I think I have to overrule him if there's a question.
You think you have to overrule him? Or
I feel bad because we split it 50-50, but we didn't have a good year last year.
Right.
And I think he made most of the picks.
Okay, see, there it is.
So
this is a perfect time for you to wrest control from him and just
we are going
grab the wheel from him.
We are going 1-1, and I assume we're going to McCaffrey unless something drastically changes. But I haven't looked at a lot of the mocks. Most of the mocks, McCaffrey's going 1, I assume.
Almost all of them.
What about 2? Who's going 2?
2, there's a lot of Breece Hall. There's a lot of CD Lamb going 2.
Jefferson going 2. Probably
I've
not
seen
as high.
Jefferson falling as low as like 6, 8.
Because of the quarterback situation, yeah.
And I've run a good amount of mock drafts already. Drafting from all the spots. I can tell you who's getting picked where.
Yeah.
Where's Jayden getting drafted?
Jayden Daniels, very late.
Yeah.
Like usually it's like a second quarterback for a lot of teams. Even though kind of like his rushing floor,
right,
which makes him, if he rushes for 500 yards or more, he will be a top 12 fantasy.
Where's Eckler being drafted?
Eckler's falling into like rounds 8 through 10.
Later than
late.
Brian Robinson? Or above Brian Robinson?
They're close, but I think Eckler's going before Brian Robinson.
So I could see Tyreek going 2, or I could see CD going 2. But yeah, we're going to take McCaffrey.
Good.
But I know I'm going to jinx him by taking him 1 round.
You very well could, but you can't not take him at 1.
I know.
You have to take pull
McCaffrey.
the trigger.
Correct.
Just hope he stays healthy.
Well, we will. And they will.
Let's say going back to this conversation, if the Commanders could engineer a deal, they've got the cap space for either Brandon Aiyuk or T Higgins.
Which one do I prefer?
The situation in San Francisco becomes untenable.
Yeah.
He's, putting on Instagram too many pictures of other teams' plays.
I have my answer.
And he's hanging out with Jayden Daniels all the time. But I want cost to be a consideration. Yeah. Like, I don't even know who would cost more right now, T Higgins or Brandon Aiyuk.
I think they'd be similar. Maybe Aiyuk costs a little bit more. I would choose Aiyuk over Higgins. I think he's more explosive, doesn't get injured as much, and he's boys with Jayden Daniels. They already have a relationship. I would prefer Brandon Aiyuk, but I would take T Higgins as a consolation prize if that were the case.
Do you think Higgins will get dealt, or will he play under the tag? Doesn't make sense for Cincinnati to have him just play under the tag, but because he's not going to come back. But
I would say if they get a decent enough
I
looking
think
deal,
if they
they'll
get a
deal him.
decent look, they might do that.
Ooh, I hope we're talking about T Higgins in a Commanders uniform tomorrow. That would be fun. Would like to do that.
Who else is on their depth chart? I mean, obviously Jamar Chase is their one.
They drafted, is it Jermaine Burton out of Alabama?
Alabama, yeah.
Kind of a sketchy character guy, but he's got a lot of talent. They also, I think, picked up Mike Gesicki in the offseason at tight end, a guy that everybody grasps at all the time in fantasy drafts and never produces.
No. Beyond Chase and Higgins, the rest of their receivers are very nondescript.
Well,
Trent
they got Charlie
Irwin.
Jones, the kid from Purdue. He's a good player.
And they lost Tyler Boyd to the Titans during the offseason. I don't know if they can really afford to deal T. Higgins.
Charlie Jones had 7 catches.
I know, but he's a punt returner. He could, if he stepped into the number 3, he would be good.
I know, but I'm saying stepping in at number 2 if you're going to lose T. Higgins. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep a guy under the franchise tag.
I would think Burton would be the number 2 if Higgins is gone. Unless they got a player in the trade. But Burton would probably be the 2. But, yeah, you're probably right. I mean.
3rd-round pick rookie?
Burton, yeah.
Yep.
But it'll be interesting to see what happens with Higgins.
Coming up
I
next.
can't believe they didn't come to an agreement and get a deal.